size. See, what's the primary group size? The primary group size will be always small. Okay, write down that only primary groups are in smaller in size. Primary groups are in smaller in size. They are localized. They are localized or limited to a definite area. They are localized or limited to a definite area. Okay, coming to secondary groups. Secondary groups are relatively bigger in size. I said the example for the primary and secondary, the urban and the rural and urban areas. Okay, in that way, when you talk about, see, you can check it out. What the size of the rural area and what the size of the urban area. Okay, coming to the secondary group. Secondary groups are relatively bigger in size. Secondary groups are relatively bigger in size. They are not necessarily restricted to small area. They are not necessarily restricted to small area. Okay. This is about the size of primary and secondary groups. Now coming to the primary group, the physical proximity. Physical proximity. Write down under the primary groups. Groups are confined to a small geographical area. Groups are confined to a small geographical area. Okay, here means what the size or the space or the relationship. Okay, the physical size, the physical relationship, whatever it may be, means the nearness. The nearness, the people are means there were the less people in these areas, or the less people in these groups, so they have very small geographical area. Coming to the secondary groups, the groups are not characterized by physical area. The groups are not characterized by physical area because for a physical area, particular physical area, they have the different groups. So we cannot categorize. That's why in secondary groups are not characterized by a physical area. The next point under primary groups is communication. Communication. Write down under the primary groups. Since members stay together, communication is not only direct, but also quick and effective. Communication is not only direct, but also quick and effective. Means the people having the closeness with the proximity, they are having the nearness and closeness, so the communication is very fast. No need to communicate no need of communication facilities. Because see, particularly in villages or rural areas, if anything happens at one home, means it will spread to all the houses which were in the region, in the village, very quickly rather than the telecommunications. So that much facility is there in villages. If any persons are there, were coming from those areas, they know all these things. Okay, and coming to secondary, since members are spread over a vast area, since members are spread over a vast area, direct communication is difficult. Direct communication is difficult. It is mostly indirect in nature. Is mostly indirect in nature. Coming to the urban areas, what happened? See, in the family only, the family members were unable to communicate the face to face due to some various reasons. Okay, they were unable to uh, speak out, or they were unable to interact with each other. So there is a very means there is no fast communication. It will take a time. Okay, that only got described in the secondary groups. Since members are spread over a vast area, direct communication is difficult, is mostly indirect in nature, because compared to the rural areas and urban areas, there were the much population in the urban areas rather than the rural areas. So we have to communicate all these people means at a time means it is very difficult. So it will reach us slowly. Okay. Next, group interest. Group interests. Interests of the members are not specific. Interests of the members are not specific but general. Not specific but general. Everyone is everyone is interested in the welfare of interested in the welfare of everyone else. Everyone is interested in the welfare of everyone else. Okay, what happened in this part? The primary groups means they don't have any individual interest. They share the they will share the interest commonly. Means what the other people are used to say. They also say that thing only. They don't want a specific interest. Okay, and one more thing, they used to always bother about the others' welfare. Others' welfare that comes under into the primary group. But coming to the secondary group, it is quite opposite. Okay, secondary group is quite opposite. See here, write down interest of the members are more specific, are more specific. Hence, groups are often called special interest groups. Hence, groups are often called special interest groups. Okay, now coming to the secondary group, they have the individual interests. They don't want the general interest. They don't want to follow the other interests. Okay, they have their own interest and they used to follow that thing only. Okay, they don't want to, and one more thing, they don't want to think about the other welfare also. Okay, in some parts, exception in some parts, moreover, maximum in secondary group, they don't want to think about others. They used to think themselves only. Okay, that is a group interest. Next, nature of cooperation. Nature of cooperation. Write down. Cooperation is In primary group, cooperation is direct. Members work together, play together. Members work together, play together, enjoy together. Members work together, play together, enjoy together. And in times of crisis, struggle together, struggle together. Cooperation is natural and spontaneous. Cooperation is natural and spontaneous. Okay? What here? The cooperation between the members is more in the primary groups. So that's why here described in various ways that is work together, play together, enjoy, and they used to fought together in the times of crisis. Okay, always they have the cooperation with each other in whatever the aspect. Okay, coming to the secondary group. Here, compared to the primary group, the secondary group of individuals have less cooperation. They have the limits. They used to maintain the limits in their aspects. Okay, that's right. Cooperation is mostly indirect. Cooperation is mostly indirect. And it is an intended act to serve. And it is an intended act to serve a particular need. A particular need. It is limited to the purpose only. It is limited to the purpose only. It is limited to the purpose only. Is not spontaneous. It is not spontaneous, but deliberate and cultivated. But deliberate and cultivated. Is not spontaneous, but deliberate and cultivated. Okay, here the cooperation is very less, and the cooperation will be maintained at the time of needs. Okay, at the time of needs only. Means they are having the need with other fellow means, then they will give the cooperation. Otherwise, they won't. That's the thing here. Okay, the next part is group structure. The primary group structure. See what the side headings are kept in the primary and secondary groups that were related to both. Don't think that the side heading is belonging to the only primary group because it is showing in the primary group part. Okay, the side headings belongs to the both primary as well as secondary. Right on the group structure. What is the group structure of primary group? First of all, group structure is very informal. Group structure is very informal. Members are not particular. Members are not particular about the rights and powers. About the rights and powers or statuses and prestige. Or statuses and prestige. formal or detailed groups are drafted as guidelines. No formal or detailed groups are drafted as guidelines. The group is not very much organized in the modern sense. The group is not very much organized in the modern sense. The group is not very much organized in the modern sense. Okay, here coming to the primary group, what is happening? They were not bothered about what is their power, what is their prestige, and they were not bothered. At that time, they formed the structure. Means that they will be one to another. అంటే వాళ్ళందరూ ఒకసారిగా కలిసిపోతారు ఏదైనా విషయం వస్తే. They will want the group as a like. The group, they want to form the group solidarity. Okay, in the primary group always they used to bother about the group solidarity but not the other things. Okay, now coming to the secondary groups. Group structure is formal. See here coming to informal and formal. There were so many things in informal and formal. See for example, take the formal things in the legal aspects, the court, the police, all comes in the formal things. But here come under into the informal, there is no the type of aspect. They bother about the words of the head of the villages. They bother about the words of the head of the villages. So that's why they come under into the informal. Okay, write down group structure in the write down in the secondary groups. Group structure is formal. Group structure is formal. The group is regulated. The group is regulated by as set of formal rules. By as set of formal rules. Statuses and roles. See here in the secondary group, they always bother about their status, their role, their power, prestige. They used to bother about all these things. Okay, statuses and roles, rights and powers of the members, rights and powers of the members are well defined. Rights and powers of the members are well defined. The organization of the group is carefully planned and worked out. Carefully planned and worked out. Okay. Now coming to the next point, durability. Durability. Write down in the primary group. Groups are relatively durable. Groups are relatively durable. Means they are the everlasting groups or the long-lasting groups. Okay, they were the everlasting or long-lasting groups. Coming to the secondary, groups may be temporary or permanent. Groups may be temporary or permanent. to the next point, effects on personality. Effects on personality. Write down under the primary group. The groups have a long-lasting influence. The groups have a long-lasting influence upon the personality of development of members. Upon the personality of development of members. On the personality of development of members. Okay. The group influence will show on the individuals who are existed in those groups. Now coming to secondary groups, the impact of the group. The impact of the group on the personality of the members. The impact of the group on the personality of the members is rather limited. See, all the persons won't accept what the group used to say, or they don't want to influence to that groups. Okay, so that's why here it will be going to be limited. And the last point in this session, that is in the groups, nature of group control. Nature of group control. Nature of group control. Write down primary groups. Primary groups control the behavior of the members. Primary groups control the behavior of the members to a great extent. To a great extent. Informal means of social control. Informal means of social control are enough to regulate the relation. Informal means of social control are enough to regulate the relation. Okay, coming to secondary groups. I said about the informal and formal. So in the primary group, the informal will be going to be played important role, and coming to the secondary group, always there will be a formal controls. Okay, then there is no word of informal in the secondary groups. Write down in the secondary groups. The secondary groups have limited control. Secondary groups have limited controls over the behavior of the members. Over the behavior of the members. Informal means informal means or not enough and hence formal means of social control or resorted to for maintaining the group control. Okay, this is about the primary and secondary groups. Okay, this is about the primary and secondary groups. Have you finished all the till now the notes? No one is speaking out. What happened? All of you slept or what?
No, ma'am, we completed, ma'am.
Okay. Shall we start a new topic today? Otherwise, we'll start tomorrow. Because we are having I think 5 more minutes. People don't want to say anything.
Better tomorrow we will start, ma'am. Only 5 minutes left.
Yeah. That's 4 to 5 minutes left. That's it. So that's why I'm asking. So I think Monday onwards we are having offline classes. Is it right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we'll meet there. Yeah, I have to look into your face.
Yes, ma'am, we know, but
anything wrong? How many are going to attend for the offline classes?